very funny guy. Guys, give it up for Josue Hernandez.
I'm Mexican, but I look Middle Eastern. Which basically just means that I'm waiting to get deported. And then also put on a no-fly list. But look, I can't tell you how much it sucks being a minority that looks like a different minority. I get racism thrown at me all the time, and it's always because of the wrong fucking race. One time I was going through airport security, and I was in line just minding my own business, and the TSA agent takes one look at me, he's like, "Sir, random inspection." I was like, okay, I have no reason to believe I'm getting profiled. He's just doing his job. The best thing I can do right now is just go along with it, make life easier for both of us. He's trying to keep us safe, right? So I pull aside, and he starts patting me down. And as he's patting me down, he has to, when he's patting down my legs, he has to get down on his knees. And so as he kneels down, I can see right past him. And I can see all the people that he's pulled over right before me. And we all look exactly the same. And at this point, I knew exactly what was going on. I was getting profiled, and look, I was fucking pissed. Because it wasn't because I'm Mexican. And look, either way, I was just like, I wanted to tell him, I was like, man, you can't fucking do this to people. You can't just pull people aside based on how they look. You're making people feel uncomfortable. People are in line and they just want to get on their flight. This is fucked up and you can't do this. But I'm not great at confrontation, so I had to muster up all that anger, all that rage, and all I could get out was this. So he's down there patting my legs, and I was just like, "Excuse me, sir. What is it that you're looking for?" And so remember, he's down on his knees, patting my legs, patting. He hears me say that, and he just stops, and he slowly stands up. He says, "Sir, I need you to calm down. We're looking for explosive devices." And look, at this point, I knew exactly what was going on, right? And I was just like, "Hey, man, you're not the first person to make this mistake. Right? I'm not Middle Eastern, so stop looking for explosive devices." I'm Mexican. Look for drugs. Because if I'm going to be profiled, at least do it because I'm Mexican. The other day I was watching TV and this commercial came on for something called Mexican insurance. I know, what the fuck is Mexican? The thing is, like, the commercial didn't explain what it was, which I think is really unfair. You can't just say Mexican insurance on TV and not explain what you're talking about. So it was up to me to like piece things together. So I figured it could be one of two things. First, it could be tailored towards people that want to be protected against Mexicans, right? So something like earthquake insurance or something. And I feel like that would be tailored to people in a higher class neighborhood that's maybe afraid of the growing Latino community. So I feel like that commercial would be just a white guy talking about the potential dangers in the community. So it would just open with, "Are you afraid of nice, hardworking people that look slightly different than you? Would you call the cops if you see your neighbors making a carne asada outside? Do you hate pinatas? If so, you need Mexican. But don't worry, here at No Way Jose, we have your back." And the other version would be tailored towards Mexicans, like Mexican insurance will protect you because you're Mexican, right? I feel like that would be slightly different. I imagine it's something like the State Farm commercials. Just instead of State Farm, it'd probably be called like El Rancho, something like that. And instead of the little jingle being like good neighbors, State Farm is there, it'd probably be like, like a Mexican just shows up with sombrero to save it. And look, I feel like that would have been useful in a TSA situation. Like the guy's just like down here patting my legs, and all he hears is just like, and he just stands up slowly, and he says, "Sir, I'm gonna need to search your friend too." I can be pretty dumb. I've had my moments of just pure like stupidity, and I can be super like clueless. One time I managed to lock myself out of my car, which look, I know it's happened to a lot of people. I'm not special, but the thing is, I left my car on. The engine was wrong. Somehow, I managed to park my car, get all my stuff out of my car, lock all the doors, and leave the engine running. That was a very embarrassing call to make to the locksmith, to just like, and I had to pay like $100 to get the car open. He asked no questions, which, thank God. And then it was like $100 for that, and maybe like $20 in gas money. The car was just running for like an hour. But what probably drives the point home of like how clueless I can be is the fact that I didn't know I needed glasses until someone else told me. I probably lived the first 8-9 years of my life just thinking that the world was blurry. Like if things were close to your face, like cool, you could see them, but as they got further away, just like tough luck, man. And the thing is, like, it's not like my parents were like negligent. Like they took me to get my eyes checked and everything. They were great parents. But the thing is, like, as a kid, you learn to adapt like super quick. So all those tests, I would pass them no problem. Because I just like through life, I just learned like what a blurry A looked like, what a blurry Z looked like. No problem. But by the time I got my glasses, I'd have to say that probably like the best day of my life. Well, I mean, it was the best day of my life until the day that I discovered how to masturbate. You guys remember the first time you masturbated? Yeah? Good time? All right. I don't know why you're laughing, man. It is a good time. I remember the first time I masturbated. It was quite an experience. They had been talking about it at school. All these kids were just saying this new thing that was happening, and I was interested, man. I was curious. I had never even thought about doing that, and so one time I just went home and I was like, all right, I'm gonna do this. So I went in the bathroom, right? So I locked the door in the bathroom, and I just start, right? So I'm like doing what I think I'm supposed to do. Just keep on going. Nothing's really happening, and at this point, I mean, whatever. I just keep on going, and then all of a sudden, just like out of nowhere, like my legs just start to shake, and like my stomach just like starts quivering. I was like, what the fuck is happening? Look, I was terrified because there's a history of stroke in my family. And in this moment, I was convinced I was dying. But I was like, fuck it, I've had a good 13 years. If this is how I die, so be it. So I just powered through it. And then it just happened. It finally happened. And I was confused, honestly. I didn't know what to feel. It felt good, but I was also scared because this weird thing had just happened to me. I think the only way I can describe it is kind of like that moment in all those superhero movies where the protagonist discovers that they have superpowers. Like, I just stood there and I was just like, holy shit. I can make myself feel this way whenever I want. And then that was just like the downfall of all my free time. Day in, day out, I was in the bathroom, no doubt about it. And that was just like, for most of my teens, that's just how it was. And there was one day that I read an article online that just scared the shit out of me. It scared me so much, it stopped me from masturbating for like a few hours. And what the article said was, kid dies of 3rd-degree burns after masturbating a consecutive 37 times. I know, right? Who kept count? There you guys, good night.